Imagine the heart-wrenching moment when a dedicated Marine, sworn to honor his fallen brother, faces off against corporate indifference at 30,000 feet, only for one defiant act to ignite a nationwide firestorm that brings an airline giant to its knees. If stories of courage, justice, and unexpected twists grip you like this one does, hit that subscribe button now to never miss another tale that restores your faith in humanity. Sergeant Elias Thorne stood at the edge of the tarmac, the humid Florida air clinging to his crisp dress blues like a shroud of unspoken grief, his eyes fixed on the flag-draped casket being loaded onto the commercial flight bound for Arlington National Cemetery, where Private First Class Marcus Hale would finally rest among heroes. Marcus, just 22, had been Thorne's mentee in the dusty hell of Afghanistan, a kid from a small Ohio town with dreams bigger than the mountains they patrolled, dreams shattered by an IED that left Thorne with survivor's guilt heavier than any rucksack he'd ever carried. As the escort officer, it was Thorne's solemn duty to accompany the remains every step of the way, a tradition etched in military code that ensured no fallen soldier traveled alone. But as he boarded the plane, ticket in hand courtesy of the Department of Defense, he sensed the first ripple of trouble when the flight attendant, a stern woman named Karen with a name tag that seemed to match her demeanor, eyed him suspiciously and muttered something about oversold seats. Thorne settled into his assigned spot in coach, the casket secured in the cargo hold below, his mind replaying the last conversation with Marcus. Jokes about post-deployment barbecues that would never happen. When the pilot's voice crackled over the intercom, announcing a delay due to passenger accommodations, and soon enough, a harried gate agent boarded, clipboard in hand, approaching Thorne with an apologetic smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Sir, I'm afraid there's been a mix-up," she said, her voice laced with corporate politeness. "This flight is overbooked, and we need your seat for a paying passenger. We can rebook you on the next one, but you'll have to deplane now." Thorne's jaw tightened, his hand instinctively touching the escort badge pinned to his chest, explaining calmly but firmly that he was on official duty, escorting a fallen hero, and military protocol demanded he stay with the remains. No exceptions, no delays, because to separate would dishonor the sacrifice. The agent blinked, uncomprehending, radioing her supervisor, and soon a cluster of airline staff gathered, whispering urgently as passengers began to murmur, some pulling out phones to record the unfolding drama. Karen, the flight attendant, stepped forward, her tone sharpening. "Rules are rules, sir. We appreciate your service, but this is a commercial flight, not a military transport. If you don't comply, we'll have to involve security." Thorne felt a surge of anger, but he kept his composure, thinking of Marcus's family waiting graveside, the widow with a toddler who'd never know his father, and he refused to budge, stating he'd only leave if the casket did too, which sparked the first twist. Unbeknownst to the airline, Thorne wasn't just any Marine. He was the son of Senator Elias Thorne Sr., a powerful figure on the Armed Services Committee, though he'd kept his lineage quiet to forge his own path in the Corps. As security approached, burly men in ill-fitting uniforms, Thorne pulled out his phone, not to call his father, but to live-stream the confrontation on social media, his voice steady as he narrated, "This is what happens when bureaucracy forgets honor. I'm escorting my fallen brother home, and this airline is trying to bump me for profit." The video went viral in minutes, hashtags like #HonorTheFallen and #AirlineShame exploding across platforms, but the airline doubled down, the supervisor, a slick man named Mr. Reynolds with a tie too tight for his neck, insisting on protocol, citing fine print in their terms of service that allowed bumping for any reason, and they began to forcibly remove Thorne, his arms linked to the seat as passengers gasped, one elderly veteran in row 12 standing up to protest, "You touch that Marine, and you'll have to go through me." The plane erupted in chaos, delays mounting as the story hit national news, CNN interrupting programming with, "Breaking. Airline attempts to eject fallen soldier's escort." But here's where the second twist unfolded. Among the passengers was Amelia Hale, Marcus's sister, traveling incognito to avoid media scrutiny, her grief raw and unfiltered. She'd boarded quietly, but seeing Thorne, whom she'd met at the base memorial, being manhandled, she rose, tears streaming, revealing her identity with a photo of Marcus on her phone, shouting, "That's my brother's body down there. How dare you dishonor him like this?" The cabin fell silent, then erupted in support, passengers chanting, "Let him stay." As flight attendants scrambled, but the airline, stubborn in their corporate hubris, called airport police, who arrived with tasers drawn, ready to escalate. Thorne, zip-tied and led off the plane, whispered to Amelia, "Tell the family I'll get him home, no matter what." As his live stream captured every humiliating second, the video amassing millions of views, celebrities retweeting, veterans groups mobilizing protests at airports nationwide. Back on the ground, Thorne's phone buzzed incessantly. His father, the senator, furious, pulling strings with the FAA, but Thorne urged restraint, wanting justice through public pressure, not nepotism. Meanwhile, the airline's stock plummeted 5% in after-hours trading as boycotts brewed, their CEO issuing a tepid statement about regrettable misunderstandings. But the big mistake was yet to come, the third twist revealing itself when investigative journalists, tipped off by the viral video, dug into the airline's practices and uncovered a scandal. For years, they'd been systematically bumping military escorts to maximize profits, falsifying records to claim operational necessities, with internal emails leaking that showed executives joking about dead weight in cargo, not warranting priority, outrageous insensitivity that fueled congressional hearings. Thorne, rebooked on a private charter funded by crowdfunding that raised $100,000 in hours, finally arrived at Arlington with Marcus's remains, the funeral a media spectacle where the president himself pinned a medal on Thorne's chest, but not before the airline's CEO was forced to resign amid lawsuits from veterans' families, the company paying millions in settlements and implementing new policies honoring military transports. Yet, in a final, poignant twist, Thorne discovered a letter in Marcus's effects, written days before his death, thanking Thorne for being like the brother he never had, and revealing that Marcus had known about Thorne's senatorial bloodline all along, keeping the secret as a bond of trust, proving that true honor transcends ranks or rules, leaving Thorne to reflect on a journey that started with loss but ended with a nation's awakened conscience, the airline's big mistake not just in policy but in underestimating the unbreakable spirit of those who serve. As the sun set over the rows of white headstones, Thorne saluted one last time, whispering, "Welcome home, brother," the weight lifting slightly, knowing that from this ordeal, change had been forged in the fires of public fury and personal resolve, a story that would echo in military lore for generations, reminding all that some duties are sacred, and woe to those who try to stand in their way. But wait, there's more to unravel in this tale of valor and vengeance, for as Thorne returned to active duty, whispers emerged of a deeper conspiracy within the airline, ties to defense contractors profiting from endless wars, suggesting the bumping wasn't mere greed but a calculated slight against the military machine they secretly fueled. Investigations ongoing, with Thorne at the center, his escort mission evolving into a crusade against corruption that spanned boardrooms and battlefields alike. Months later, a whistleblower from the airline contacted Thorne, a former employee haunted by guilt, providing documents that exposed how the overbooking was a cover for smuggling contraband in cargo holds, using military flights as unwitting mules, the fallen soldiers' caskets sometimes tampered with in transit, a horrifying revelation that twisted the knife deeper, turning grief into rage as Thorne teamed up with FBI agents, his escort duty now a metaphor for guiding truth to light. The sting operation climaxed at a major hub, where undercover, Thorne posed as another escort, baiting the corrupt insiders who approached with offers to upgrade the cargo for a cut, leading to arrests that toppled not just the airline but implicated high-level executives in international schemes, the big mistake compounding as the company's bankruptcy loomed, assets seized, and Thorne hailed as a hero once more. Yet, personal twists awaited. Amelia, Marcus's sister, confessed her growing feelings for Thorne during the turmoil, their shared loss blossoming into love, but complicated by Thorne's deployment orders, forcing a heart-wrenching choice between duty and heart. In a dramatic airport farewell, ironic echoes of the original incident, Thorne promised to return, but fate intervened with another twist. En route to his next tour, his plane hit turbulence, emergency landing in a storm, where Thorne's quick thinking saved passengers, earning him a promotion and a stateside assignment, allowing him to build a life with Amelia while advocating for veterans' rights. The story circled back as Thorne testified before Congress, his father's proud gaze upon him, the airline's remnants rebranded under new ownership with mandatory honor guards for military transports, a legacy of that fateful flight. But the ultimate twist lay in Marcus's final secret, decoded from a journal entry. He'd suspected foul play in his unit, hints of insider betrayal that mirrored the airline's corruption, suggesting his death wasn't random but targeted, propelling Thorne into a shadow war against traitors within, the escort mission never truly ending, a perpetual vigil for justice. Years passed, Thorne, now a colonel, mentoring young recruits with tales of that day, the airline's mistake a cautionary parable in business schools, while he and Amelia raised a son named Marcus, instilling values of honor that no corporation could ever bump aside. And so, the single thread of duty wove through twists of scandal, love, and redemption, proving that one man's stand could unravel empires, the fallen soldier's spirit guiding every unexpected turn, a narrative etched not in stone but in the hearts of those who remember. Expanding further, let's delve into the intricate details of Thorne's background. Born in the shadow of Capitol Hill, where his father's political ambitions cast long shadows, pushing young Elias to enlist at 18 to escape the nepotism he despised, forging bonds in boot camp that felt more real than any fundraiser gala, Marcus, the wide-eyed private, reminded him of his younger self, their patrols filled with philosophical debates under starlit skies. Marcus, dreaming of college on the GI Bill, Thorne sharing survival tips honed from urban jungles to desert dunes. The airline incident, replayed in Thorne's nightmares, wasn't just about a seat. It symbolized society's fraying respect for service, the agent's clipboard a weapon of indifference, Karen's scowl a mask for deeper frustrations in a job that ground souls to dust. As the video spread, Thorne's inbox flooded with support, from Gold Star families sharing similar stories to CEOs offering jobs, but he stayed the course, refusing interviews until Marcus was buried, the ceremony poignant with full honors, rifle volleys echoing like thunder, the folded flag presented to the widow with Thorne's steady hand. The whistleblower's revelations added layers, documents showing how cargo manifests were altered, caskets used to hide illicit goods, drugs, weapons, even classified tech, exploiting the sanctity of military transport for profit, a betrayal that hit Thorne like a second IED, fueling his resolve to expose it all. The FBI partnership brought danger, late-night meetings in seedy motels, wiretaps capturing incriminating chatter, the sting at O'Hare where Thorne, disguised in civvies, escorted a decoy casket laced with trackers, the corrupt crew swooping in like vultures, arrests made amid flashing lights and drawn guns, Thorne's training kicking in to subdue a fleeing suspect. Amelia's confession came in a quiet moment post-funeral, her hand on his. "You brought him home, Elias, now let me bring you home." Their romance blooming amid chaos, stolen kisses in hospital waiting rooms during Thorne's recovery from a minor op injury, but deployment loomed, a twist of fate in the storm-tossed flight that grounded him permanently stateside due to a diagnosed heart murmur from stress, turning curse to blessing. Marcus's journal, deciphered with cryptology help from old unit buddies, hinted at a mole in their platoon, selling intel to insurgents, the IED no accident but assassination, linking back to the defense contractors tied to the airline, a web of greed that Thorne dismantled piece by piece, testifying with evidence that led to indictments, his father's committee wielding the gavel of justice. Retirement brought peace, Thorne writing a memoir that became a bestseller, proceeds funding veteran charities, the airline's phoenix rising as Honor Air, with Thorne on the advisory board, ensuring no escort ever faces ejection again. The son, little Marcus, grew up hearing the story, playing soldier with toy planes, vowing to serve, the cycle of honor continuing, twists resolved in a tapestry of triumph over tragedy, the big mistake not just the airlines, but society's, corrected through one man's unyielding stand. To flesh out the emotional core, recall Thorne's internal monologue during the confrontation, heart pounding as security loomed, flashbacks to Marcus bleeding out in his arms, "Hold on, kid, I've got you," words echoing now as, "I've got him. Don't make me let go." Passenger reactions varied, the veteran in row 12, a Vietnam vet named Gus, sharing his own escort story from 68, bonding with Thorne post-incident over beers, becoming lifelong friends. Media frenzy brought paparazzi, but Thorne shielded Amelia, their relationship a sanctuary amid storms, wedding vows exchanged at Arlington, Marcus's grave as witness, a twist of joy in sorrow's wake. The conspiracy's depth shocked even cynics, contractors lobbying against peace to sustain profits, airline complicity a small cog in a machine of war, Thorne's crusade earning him the Medal of Freedom, presented in a White House ceremony where he dedicated it to all fallen, not just Marcus. Life's twists continued, Amelia's pregnancy announcement coinciding with the CEO's trial, where damning testimony sealed fates, the company liquidated, assets auctioned to fund reparations. Thorne's son, at age 10, asked, "Dad, would you do it again?" The answer, unwavering, every time, for honor's sake. Thus, the story spirals through layers of plot and passion.